everyone. Today we are talking about percent. So the name itself tells you what it is. It's percent. So that means out of 100, 100, or one part in every 100. So this is a model like number tiles, and they have 100 number tiles, and how many of them are shaded? Out of 100 they shaded 10, 20, 30. So 10 here, 20, 30. So they shaded 30 tiles. So that means 30 over 100, and you can write that as 30%. So 30% of the model is shaded. So 10, 20, 30. So 30% of the model is shaded. So I can write here 30%, and that means 30 over 100, and you say it is 30%. 30% means it's 30%. That is the symbol we use for percent. And how do I simplify this? So 30 over 100. If you want to simplify, you can use decomposition. So I can write 30 as 3 times 10 and 100 as 10 times 10. And you can see there is a 1 here. 10 divided by 10 is 1. So you will get 3/10. And you cannot simplify 3/10 because 3 is a prime number. So it is 3 over 10 is the fractional form of that percent. And write fraction as a decimal. What is the decimal form of 3/10? So 3 is in the 10th place. So that means it is 0.3, which is same as 3/10. So percent means out of 100 and one part in every 100. And for percent, you use this symbol, that is percent. So percent means 1 out of 100. So 30% means 30 times 1 out of 100 without the percent sign. So that will become 30 over 100 because 30 over 1 times 1 over 100. So hope you understand what percent is. So now we are going to write the given percent as a decimal. So they are giving you the percent form and you need to write that as a decimal form. So let's look at number 1. It's 24%. So you already know 24% is 24 over 100. So out of 100, 24 of them are shaded. Or if this is a test, you have 100, the total point is 100, and you earned a 24 out of 100. So how do I write that as a decimal? So 2400 means 2400th. If you are reading that, it's 2400th. So that means it is 0.10th hundredth. So your answer will be 2400th, which is 0.24. Now let's look at number 2. Number 2 is 3%. So 3% means 3 over 100. So that means 300th. So 3 should be in the 100th place. So is equal to 0. In 10th we don't have any number. So we need to put a placeholder 0. 10th and 3 is in the 100th place. So 0.03. That will be the decimal form of 3%. 3 we have 107%. So it's, you already know 100% means that's a one whole. It's 100 over 100, which is one whole. So the answer is going to be more than 1 because it's 107%. So 107% means 107 over 100. So 107 over 100. So that means you write 107, it is 10th, 100th, and we have the decimal 1 here. So that is 1 and 700th, which is 107 1, it's a mixed number because we have the numerator 107 is bigger than 100, so that's a improper fraction, so that means it's more than 1, so it is 1.07. That is the answer, 1 and 700. 1 and 700. More than 100. So if it is more than 100%, you will get a mixed number, or you will get an improper fraction, or you will get a number before the decimal, 1 and 700. Now let's look at the last problem. It's 92.7%. So that means it's less than 1, less than 100%. So it's going, the answer is going to be less than 1. So that means 92.7 over 100. Since you are dividing by 100, you move the decimal to the left. The number is going to go down, so you move the decimal to the left twice. So that means 92.7, you move this decimal twice to the left. So that means 0.927, or in other words, it's 927,000th, because there was a tenth already in the given number, because it's 92 and 7/10%. So that will make that thousandth, so 0.927. So what is the rule? Writing percent as a decimal, you will remove the percent symbol, then divide by 100, or just move the decimal point 2 places to the left. So for example, 23% is, you move the decimal, 23% means 23, the decimal is all the way there because it's a whole number, and you move the decimal twice to the left. So that will be 2300. 2300. So writing percent as decimals, remove the percent symbol, then divide by 100. Or just move the decimal point 2 places to the left. So now we know how to write percent as a decimal. You just need to move the decimal over twice to the left. Now let's see how to write the given decimal as a percent. How do you convert a decimal to a percent? So the first one, it is 0 and 9400th. Try to read the decimal number using the place value. So I can say it is 0 and 9400th. So that means it's 9400th. That is easy. 94 over 100, I can write 94%. So basically you just need to, so if you have 0.94 and if you are converting that into percent, you're looking for a 100 in the denominator. So you multiply by 100 over 100. So that's over 1. So when you multiply 94 hundredth by 100, you move the decimal over twice to the right. So that will give you 9400, which is going to be 94%. Or you can just move the decimal over twice to the right. 0.94. If you want 100 in the denominator, you make 100 in the numerator, so that means you move twice to the right. So that the answer would be 9400th or 94%. So the next one, number 6, you can see the number itself is more than 100% or whole 1, right? It's more than 1. It's 1 and 2/10. So that will be more than 100%. That will be more than 100%. So you can either multiply the numerator and denominator by 100 to get 100 in the denominator. So that's 1.2 over 1 times 100 over 100. So when you multiply by 100, you get 120 in the numerator and denominator will be 100. So that will give you 120%. That makes sense because it is more than 100 and there is a 20%, which is 2/10. 20%, 120%. Or you can do 1.2. If you're changing a decimal to a percent, you are dividing that by 100. So you need to move to the right twice. So that means 120%. So 1.2 is 120%. Let me change the color of the pen. So number 7 is, you can see the number itself is less than 1. So that is going to be less than 100%. So less than 100%. So that means you will go 0.316 and you move the decimal over twice to the right. So that will be 31.6%. 31.6%. Or in other words, if I have 0.316 over 1, I will multiply that by 100 over 100 because I am looking for a 100 in the denominator. So you will get, when you multiply 316,000 by 100, I will get 31.6 over 100, which is going to be 31.6%. So basically you move the decimal over twice to the right. But you need to know why we are doing it. You cannot just blindly say, like without knowing the reason, you cannot say we are moving the decimal to the right twice. Number 8, it is 5,000th. 5,000th, I need to multiply that by, so 5,000th, I need 100 in the denominator. So that I can write 5 over 10 times 100. We need this 100 for the percent. So what is 5/10? 5/10 is 0.5. So 0.5 over 100, or I can say it is 0.5%. 0.5%. So if you just know how to like make the 100 in the denominator, you can see if it is 0.005, basically we are moving the decimal over twice to the right. So I'll get 0.5 and it is 0.5%. So that's how you convert a decimal to a percent. So let's see the rule here. Writing decimals as percent, multiply by 100 or just move the decimal point 2 places to the right. So when you convert the percent to decimal, you are moving to the left, and here we are moving to the right. So decimal point 2 places to the right. Then add the percent symbol. So you can see 0.36. 0.36 is you move the decimal over twice to the right and you will get 36%. Now we know how to convert percent to decimal and decimal to percent. So let's try a word problem. The problem tells you the percents of students who travel to school by car, bus, and bicycle are shown for a school of 825 students. So there are 825 students in the school, and some of the students are using cars, so that means their parents are dropping them off, and a school bus, and they are using school bus, and some of them are biking to school, you riding the bike to school. So let's look at the question. Question number 1 or A is write the percents as decimals. So for A, the first percent is car is 20%. So car equal to 20%. So that is equal to, they need decimals. So that means it's 20 over 100. It's 20 over 100, which is going to be 2/10 or 0.2. Or you can say 20% is, you write 20, and remember, if you are changing a percent to decimal, you move the decimal over twice to the left. So 1, 2, so that will be 0.2 or 2/10. That's for car. The next is school bus. They are 48%. So about half of the students are using school bus. So that's 48%. So that means 48 over 100, which is 4800. 4800, or move the decimal over twice to the left. So that means the decimal form is 0.48 or 4800. The next method is like, what are they using? They travel to school by bike or bicycle. It's 8%. So that's bike. 8%. So that means 8 over 100. So 800th. So it's 10th and 8 is in the 100th place. So that is the decimal form of 8 over 100, which is 800th. So we are done with part A. What is part B? Part B asks you write the percent as fractions. Okay, so when they ask you to write the percent as fractions, they always you need to simplify the fraction to the simplest form. So car is 20%, so that means 20 over 100, and you can simplify that is 20 you can write 2 times 10, and 100 you can write 10 times 10. So that's a 1, that's gone. So that is 2/10. But you can simplify that more 2 over 10, you can write 5 times 2. So again you will get a 1, so that will be 1/5. So the simplest form is 1/5. That is the fractional form of the percentage 20 over 100. Now now the next one is a school bus. So bus will be what? 48%. So that's 48 over 100. So that means 48, you can decompose 48 as, if you use the factor tree, 48 would be, so let me use another color pen. Oh, it's not working. So 48 you can decompose as prime, use the factor tree, 2 times 24, and 24 you can do 2 times 12, 12 you can do 2 times 6, and 6 you can write that as 3 times 2. That's a lot of prime numbers. So 48 you can write 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 2 over, how do I factorize 100? So 100 you can do 100, you can do 2 times 50, and 50 you can do 2 times 25, and 25 is 5 times 5. And you can see there are no 5s on the numerator, but all the 2's will go. So 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. So that is a 1. That is a 1. And what is left? 2 times 3 is 6 times 12. 12 over 25. So the answer is going to be 12 over 25. That is the fraction for 48%. And the third one is 8 over 100. So that is bicycle. Bicycle is 8 over 100. So 8 I can write 2 times 2 times 2, and 100 I can write 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. Decomposition, we are decomposing into prime factors. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we are left with 2 over 25. So bicycle is 2 over 25. Bicycle is 2 over 25. So that's 2 over 25, which is 8%. So you can write 8% as 2 over 25. So basically you need to use all the prime factorization to simplify. So you have to put the fractions in the simplest form. So car is 20%, which is 1/5. Bus is 48%, which is 12 over 25, and bicycle is 2 over 25. So we are done with A and B. And what is C? So let's see C. What percent of students use another method to travel to school? So we already have 20 plus 48 plus 8% using the 3 methods that is given, that is car, school bus, and bicycle. So how many more what percent of students use another method to travel to school? So how much percent is this? 48 plus 8 is 56. That is 76% of the students are using these methods, the given methods. 20 plus 8, 28 plus 48, that is 76%. So what percent of students use another method? You will go 100 minus 76, that much percent, because if I count everything, all different methods and add them, I should get 100% of the students. So that is 100 minus 76, which is 24%. So 24% of the students are using another method to travel to school. Hope you understand, and it's a lot of writing. Hope you will follow along and understand everything, and you can go back and review the concepts if you want. It's very important for you to understand the decimal and fractions of the common percentage. Common percentages that we use. We always use 100%. And you already know 100% is 100 over 100 because percent is 1 over 100. So 100 divided by 100, which is 1. That is the fractional form. 1 is a fraction. I can write 1 as 1 over 1. So 100% is 1. And what is the decimal form? Decimal form is also 1 because it's 1.0. So if it is 200%, your answer will be 2 as a fraction and 2 as a decimal too. And what is 50%? 50% is half of 100%. So the fraction is 1/2 and the decimal form is 1/2 or 5/10, 0.5. And 25%, we always use that in our real life. It is quarter, so that's 1/4, half of 1/2. Half of 1/2 is half times 1/2, which is 1/4, and it is 25 cents or 0.25. And 75% is 3/4. 75% means a 50% plus a quarter, 25%, which is 1/2 plus 1/4, which is 3/4, and it is 75, 0.75. And 33 and 1/3% is basically it is 1/3, because 33 and 1/3% is 0.3 repeats, or you can write 0.3333. It just repeats. That is 1/3. So please try to remember all these so you can actually use this to order the decimals and fractions and percentages and compare the fractions, percent and decimals. And 66 and 2/3% is actually 2/3, and it is 0.6 repeats, or 0.666. It just repeats. And 12.5% is actually 1/2 of 25%. So that means 1/2 of 1/4, which is going to be 1/8. So 12.5% is 1/8, and the decimal form is 0.125, which is going to be, if you add 0.125 plus 0.125, you will get 0.25. So this is half of a quarter, 1/2 of 1/4, which is 1/8. And 20% is 20 over 100, which is going to be 10 is a common factor, so which is 2/10, which is going to be 1/5. If you simplify all the way through, you will get a 1/5. And 20% is 20 over 100, which is going to be 0.2. That is the decimal form. So it's easy if you remember all the common percentages and the decimal form and fraction form. We will review that one more time. So let's review the common percentages and their decimal and fraction form. 100% is 1. The fractional form is 1 and the decimal form is also 1. And 50% means 1 half and it is 0.5 or 5/10th. 5/10th. And 25% is a quarter and it is 0.25. 75% is 3/4, which is 0.75. And 33 and 1/3% is 1/3 actually. 1/3 and it is equal to 0.3333 repeats. And 66 and 2/3% is 2/3 and it is 0.6 repeats. So you can write here 0.6 repeats. And 12.5% is 1 half of 1/4, which is 1/8, and it is 0.125. And 20% is 1/5, which is 0.2. Hope you will remember all these. So in this part, we are going to order numbers that is given. Let me take a pen. Order numbers that are written as fractions, decimals, and percentage. So percentages or percents. So we need to convert all of them into one form. Otherwise, it will be hard for you to compare. So let's see, 1/8. 1/8 is a fractional form. And is it easy to convert that into a percent? Yes, you can do 1 divided by 8, or if you remember from the common percentages, 1/8 is half of 1/4. So half of 25%, that is 12.5%. In case if you don't remember, use the long division, divide 1 by 8. Divide 1 by 8 means 8 won't go in 1, so that is 0 point, add zeros. So in 10, 8 goes 1 time, minus 8. In 20, 2 times, minus 16. In 40, 5 times, minus 40, that is the remainder is 0. So it is 0.125, which is 12.5%. And the next one they gave you as 11%. So you don't need to do anything with 11%. 3/20th. How do I convert 3/20th to a percentage? So 3/20th you can write 3/20. I'm looking for 100 in the denominator. So you can just multiply by 5 on both numerator and denominator. That's a form of 1. So I get 15/100. Ooh, that was easy. And it's 15%. So we are done with 3/20th. And the next one is pretty easy. It is, you just need to move the decimal over twice to the right. So that is 17.2%. And this also, it's easy to move the decimal over, that is 32%. And this is already in the percentage form, and this is also percent. And when you move the decimal over, this will be 70%, because it's almost like very close to 100%, very close to 1, right? 0.7, so that's 70%. 5/6. 5/6 is also going to be very close to 1, because 6/6 is 1. So let's divide 5 by 6. 6 is not a multiple of 10, 100 or 1000. So you may have to use the long division. So 5/6 is 5 divided by 6. So when you divide 5 by 6, 0 point, and add I already put a decimal, so I can add as many zeros as I want. So in 56 goes 8 times 48. We are putting that as a percent, right? So let's do the percent form, that is 12.5%. So 1/8 is 12.5%, and the next one is 11%. They gave you as 11%, and 3/20th we said it was 15%, and it's 17.2%, then 32%, 43%, my god, that's a lot of numbers, 7%, and 70%, and the last one was 83 and 1/3%. So now let's order them, because it's hard to put that on a number line because it's like not a very long number line, and our range is a lot, the difference between the smallest and the greatest, that is the range. So let's look at the smallest one, that is 7%. So let's write that down. 7%, they gave us 7% only. Try to put the form that they give you. If it is a decimal, try to put that in that form. 7%, and the next number is 11%. So 11%, again they gave you as a percent form, so 11%. The next one is 12.5%. That they gave you as 1/8. So you need to put that as 1/8. Then 7%, 11%, 1/8. The next one is 15%, which is going to be 3/20th. 3/20th. And the very next one is 17.2%, which is 0.172 or 172,000th. So we are done with that. Now the next one is 32%. 32%, they gave you 0.32. And the next one is 43%. So that they gave you 43%. So the next one is 43%, and the next one is 70%. So 32 we took, 43 we took, 70%, and the next one is 83 and 1/3%. That was a good problem, because they test if you can do this, that means you know how to convert a percent to decimal, and decimal to percent, fraction to percent, all those concepts we covered in this problem. So we have like I forgot to put something, because for 70% they give you 0.7, and 83 and 1/3% you should write that as 5/6. So these are the numbers, and if you want you can go ahead and put those on the number line. We already know 7% is less than 10%, so it's more than 5%. So somewhere here you put 7%, and we already placed 1/8. But 11% is between 10 and 1/8, so that is 11%. And 3/20th is 15%, so that will be here 15%. And next is 17.2%, that's very close to 20%. So we don't have room to show all those, and if you're making a number line, make it bigger and place those, and you already know how to place those, because we already have all the percentage listed in order. So 7%, 11%, 1/8, 3/20th, and 172,000th, 3200th, 43%, and 7/10th, and 5/6. This is the order. So we are done with that problem.